Don't you want it? 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 You lose your little mind. Live, dead,
And welcome to the Deadlights podcast. I'm your host, Sam Johnson.
And I am your other host, Leslie, bringing you a weekly dose of horror.
Hell
Yay!
yeah.
And today we have Adam.
Hello,
Yay.
I'm back.
He's back
He's
again.
back again.
Back.
You picked
Mhm.
this film last week,
I did.
and it turned out to be, out of the upwards of 100 horror movies that are in that bucket, one of your just favorite movies?
Yeah.
Just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
wild.
Which is
That was
crazy.
That's
It's
really
like your
love that.
hand was the magnetized too.
Yeah,
You
pick it
didn't just pick from the top. You
No,
like
I
went in
dug.
there.
No,
I dug
you-
through that. I knew which one I wanted. I
Right.
knew which one it was.
You manifest it, and it comes true.
I just knew. I can read
Yeah.
a printed text.
What was the movie that you picked last
I
week?
picked A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Mhm.
2014. Written and directed by Anna Lily Amirpour
Amirpour.
in the Iranian ghost town Bad City, a place that reeks of death and loneliness. The townspeople are unaware they are being stalked by a lonesome vampire.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm.
It's Bad City. So
Bad
it's just
City.
bad down to every last detail of it.
Mhm.
They just
Mhm.
made it Bad City. And I think kind of the big question of the whole movie that they address is, okay, we're in Bad City, but is everyone in Bad City
Bad.
inherently bad?
Right.
Is everyone bad?
This whole movie just knows how to shoot a very good movie.
Yes. All right,
Um,
so I guess from the top,
Make it drop. That's some wet ass pussy.
we're gonna get it. We're just wanting to get into it, so let's
Yeah.
go for
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Let's go for it.
He is leaning up against this wooden fence, and there's this big old chunk that's missing. So he's smoking a cigarette. He looks like a very bad boy type of greaser, you know. And greasers
Mhm.
to us is bad. Like he's
It's classic
a troublemaker.
Leather jacket, white shirt, jeans. He's got like slick back
Yeah,
hair
slick
too. He
back
really
hair.
looks like he's, and a lot of the people in this movie look like they're from the 1950s.
Yes.
It's kind of that look, and everyone's hair and costumes are kind of from that era. It's also should be noted that it's in black and white too.
It's in black and
Mhm.
white.
The whole movie's in black.
Yeah, that was my first note. Black and white. Whoa.
hmm
Whoa.
And he
Um,
looks like he's keeping it cool, but he's also looking around like he's watching something or waiting for something.
Mhm. And then he like goes in and comes back with this biggest, fluffiest, fattest cat.
Big old cat.
Mhm.
My God, he was so good. He's such a good cat.
Very well behaved.
That
Very
absolutely.
good cat that we see a lot of through the movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
Very.
God.
Yeah.
And we know what cats mean.
Omens.
Oh man.
But I feel like they
Mm.
used this image or like essentially this cat. Not much. I don't know. Maybe an omen, but at the same time, it was like a savior in a way.
I think that it's almost both, because we're in Bad City where all things are bad and things are going bad. But this cat, which is an omen, is kind of an omen to things that are bad, almost making them good. Which kind of in the end, do they choose to be good? Are they still bad? I mean, they're getting out of Bad City, but it's still kind of, it's at least a representation of change. The
Mhm.
cat is something that stays with our characters through the whole time that they are going through their journey in this film. So I think it's at least a representation or a kind of like a rebellion against what the situation they're in,
Mhm.
which is just this really
Yeah.
bad city. Which this is the first moment that we kind of get a sense of this city. He's carrying this cat through this city.
Mhm.
First of all, we see a lot of factories, a lot of
Mhm.
industry, plumes going into the air. He ends up with his cat ending at his really nice car, which he says first of all, there's the kid beggar who's asking him for money, and they get to his car, and the kid's like, "How can you not have money with a car like that?" And we learn that it took him a really long time to work for that car, and he pretty much just doesn't have any other money. It seems like that's what he saved up his money for, and that's what he spent it on.
Yeah. Music is
the
used
music,
so well in this movie.
It's to capture a lot of the like emotion.
It brings a lot of color to the movie that you don't really see because it's in black and white.
Wonderful.
Whereas the movie's dealing with shades of black and white and good and evil, there's a lot of emotion that the characters don't express or don't delve into that the music frequently does the expressing for them and for the movie itself.
And it's incredible because the shades of red, you know those are red. I mean, not only like do we bleed red, but like just as she's like putting on that red lipstick a little later when we get to it, but still like you're like, ooh, I know you're applying red to your lips.
Yeah, wait, now is it red or is it all black and white still?
It's black and white.
That's crazy because
Isn't it cool that your mind is like
coloring it in.
Yeah.
I did not notice that. I did. My mind wasn't coloring it in. I
like
everything's black and white. It's all black and white.
No, and
black and white.
It's black and white.
Black and white.
And I assumed that, but just thinking back on it, my brain, my memory of it is coloring it in.
The moment that I remember as colored in is the balloon dance moment. Like you
knew that was red too.
That was red.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then her shirt, as she's like seeking and walking home alone at night, it's black and white stripes, which is very much Marion is like the good and bad.
So then we go to the Arash's apartment, I think.
Yeah.
And this is where we meet his father for the first time, and we kind of learn more about his situation. Whereas, he's got a flashy, cool car, but he's actually still like working his ass off to essentially take care of his dad, who's a heroin addict.
His dad, Hossein. Yeah.
Hussein, I believe. Yeah.
He's just kind of zonked out.
Yeah.
Then
he like puts it in between his.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, the drug parts are some of the hardest parts to watch in this movie.
It's sad and
it's
it's
really sad.
Just, oh man. But yeah, not too long after,
Guess who shows up though?
The fucking
our favorite dude. I wrote down. I kept calling him Tat because he's just full of tattoos.
No.
I'm not sure what his actual character name was.
Saeed is his character's name.
Saeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I called him drug addict. Drug
tattooed man dealer.
Tattoo man dealer.
Yeah. Sex right here.
Sex.
Tattoo coming like running across his neck. He like took off his he unzipped his jacket and he had like a man on a boat across his collarbone and then a tiger right here as he was like dancing sexily.
He had a broken heart on the back of his neck.
So dumb. And then like
I mean tattoos I think are somewhat associated with that kind of like bad image and he is supposed to be I think the person we hate the most in this movie. So to just load him up with these crazy nonsensical tattoos is just to immediately visually we don't like him.
Yeah.
We don't like you.
Sex.
Sex.
Sam.
Yes, that would be gross.
You would hate me. You'd hate me for that.
Yes,
that makes sense. Fair.
I'm your servant.
He's coming to collect though.
He is.
He's coming to collect.
He's there to collect.
He has had it with Hussein's antics, not paying up. He owes him a lot of money.
Owes him so much.
Do you know how much your father owes?
A lot.
Yeah.
To the point where he like just took his car. Crashed his car.
Yeah.
Essentially, the son is paying for the sins of the father because the father has nothing left to give him. Essentially, nothing. He owes him so much already. So the only thing that they have is Arash's car.
And then he like looks at the cat, and then he gets really happy. He's like, oh my god, this
Picks him up.
cat.
Yeah, he very tenderly picks up the
Yeah.
cat. But then,
Is it a girl or boy?
the one thing about the one moment that the cat actually alerts or reacts in this movie is when he lifts up the cat and we hear a like a kind of grumbling.
Just a long whine of just.
Doesn't sound like the cat liked it.
Cat didn't like it, and the cat was
Well,
okay
he was
with.
looking at his private part.
He was, but the cat was okay with like someone getting murdered in the same room as them.
Yeah.
But the one person he did not like was this guy,
ugly
was
dude,
a dealer.
Yeah, even when the dad later is like yelling directly at the cat looks scared, but doesn't go for to like hurt him or anything. He's just like, oh, good, just kind of taking it a little bit. But yeah,
the cat. I mean, every person that the cat comes across is changed by the end of this movie or dead. You know, so.
Yeah.
And changed can also be a form of death, you know, death of your old self.
Yeah.
So this cat is bringing death to all these people in one way or another throughout this whole movie. So, I mean, the cat didn't like that guy. And who's our first victim of the whole movie?
Yeah.
Is this guy.
Yeah.
ugly
We'll get there.
dude.
So
That's
he takes the car from Arash.
Yeah.
And is it it's Arash the next day, biking to work, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
because but like he like punches his arm,
Yeah,
and from that moment on,
right.
Saeed leaves in the
He
car
has a
and
cast.
he punches, like, there's a very loud crack. Like, when we saw the hand, I thought it was going to be, like, completely broken in half. It didn't look too bad.
No.
yeah.
But it sounded bad.
Oh,
bad.
it sounded
Real bad.
bad.
Owie, owie. And yeah, then he has it wrapped up for the rest of the movie.
I'm pretty sure he didn't quite. I guess he did break it.
He did
Well,
break it later.
that is a breaking point for the character, too.
Ooh,
Because this is kind of what
Ooh.
sets him down
mentally
his
and
road.
physically.
That's true.
Because he does change
He
in a
steals.
couple ways.
He steals
in
right
this
after
movie.
this, Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after this part because I read somewhere that those numbers of days that he said that he worked for that car was 6 years. So he worked for 6 years to get this one good thing, I think, that he views in the bad city. And it's just taken from him like that easily.
Because there's
Breaks
so
him.
much care that you have to put into a car, especially if you had to earn every single penny to get that nice car.
It was a nice car.
It was a nice car. And yeah, and you take care of it. So that's all he wanted to do.
Yes, the next scene is him now biking to work. Got no car.
Yeah.
So he bikes to work, and very quickly we go from industrial bad city to
Mansion.
super rich.
Holy shit.
Yeah, huge mansion. And he's the gardener.
Mm-hmm.
He's clipping some hedges.
Gardener, handyman.
Handyman,
Yeah. I think it's
asked.
everything for
Kind of
that.
just like seems like a worker. on this.
Plumber, probably.
I'm assuming they have more workers there. Again, you don't really see anybody else except the characters, but your mind almost fills in these areas with people. But he gets called up to the lady, the mansion lady's
The bedroom.
Daughter.
Yeah.
She's a daughter.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that's why he asks her to leave her bedroom, because she's like, what would your dad and mom think of me and you being alone in your bedroom?
Right. Which
and
is
then she only has a slip on.
Yeah. He, throughout this movie, is the only character that cares about being polite or, diverting his eyes when, he's very
The girls-
traditional.
The
That's
girls
true.
are changing.
He's very traditional, and no one else in the city is concerned about that at all.
He
Absolutely.
uses, but in that moment, the first moment we see in the movie where someone uses the idea of traditional and stuff, he's using it to get her out of the room so he can steal from her.
Right.
Like those ideas are there to serve him, not her. In that moment, but
yes,
maybe more
in that
moments
moment,
as well.
there was a moment in the last scene where our main character, our vampire girl, she like turns around and takes her shirt off, and he
does
looks away.
avert, yeah,
He doesn't look back.
yeah.
So like
So he does have good in him.
I think he
does have
does believe in that, but he wants to steal those diamonds because A, she's not gonna miss them, which he doesn't. And then second of all, he wants his car back.
Yeah, he is ultimately. It's like that whole thing, like when you steal a loaf of bread to feed your family. He is stealing them, presumably with the idea of trading it for his car or getting his father out of debt. So it is, and also we're in Bad City.
We're in Bad
so
City.
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Bad City.
Yeah, he's doing bad things, but that's how it is in Bad City. There's a trench of dead people.
But next thing is the tattooed guy, the dealer, meeting with the prostitute.
Seems
sex
like
worker.
Saeed is a pimp as well. He's got a
Yes.
couple different enterprises going on in Bad
drug
City.
dealer,
Yes.
pimp, sex on his neck. He's got it
Absolutely.
He's
all.
a big
He's got it
businessman
all.
He is.
in Bad
He
City.
probably loves video games too because he has that Pac-Man tattoo.
Probably.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we see his kind of routine a little later.
Funny that a Pac-Man tattoo is on his neck.
Oh,
Right. Look at that.
true.
Eat me
And
here
this is really where we even hate him
more.
even more because he's pretty much withholding. Ati is the name of this prostitute.
Yeah.
And
Sex worker.
sex
please.
worker. And he's pretty much withholding her cut to get sex. And threatens her into giving him a blowjob.
But like he calls her, like he tells her that she's getting old.
Don't you
It's
want to
like-
have kids?
Don't you want to have kids?
And like that is the thing that signals to her, okay, he wants a blowjob. I gotta like do what he wants right now, because it's like.
But not only that, but like he goes
he
like
does
that.
He does
and
have
she's
this like finger
hey,
around mouth
little
thing.
taunting, like hey.
That's true. That's true.
Again,
What?
focus on face, like sticking his finger into their mouths is that's how essentially this scene goes from them talking to him getting the blowjob. It starts with him doing that like very invasive act, and that's what gets him going. It's just invading them, putting his finger in their mouth.
Yeah. And then
a girl walks up on a blowjob at night. Is the first time we see the girl.
Yeah. She's in right directly behind the car where he can look at her in the rear view mirror.
It's
and
scary.
Then, yes.
Boom.
Because it's just literally, like you just said, a face, because in the background and then with the black, like,
you can see
over
a bit of her shirt.
just
too
a bit.
there. Yeah.
White. And then he gets scared.
He
and
looks behind.
He
She's
looks
not there.
behind and and then
Gone.
he's like, next time
Quick.
do your job.
Also, weird thing. She's a vampire. Shows up in the mirror.
Ooh.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah.
Not
But
a traditional vampire.
not a traditional vampire.
Not very traditional.
Yeah.
And yeah, Saeed pushes Adi off of him because he's like freaks out, and then I think he's probably like almost embarrassed that that happens, and just takes it out on her, saying like, "Focus on your job next time."
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you your
Toxic
not gonna give
masculinity.
you your pay
Yeah.
cut
Yep.
because you didn't
You're short.
perform
Yeah.
correctly. Ugh.
He's disgusting.
Sick
He's
Saeed.
gross.
Sick Saeed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time that we see the girl, and also the first time that she shows up to kind of save the Adi.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she saves her a couple times throughout this movie.
Yeah,
She's looking over her. She's watching over her.
She's just kind of protecting her because she is literally walking home alone at night.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a sex worker.
I mean, who is the girl who walks home alone at night in this movie? Is it the vampire or is it Ati?
Yeah,
I mean, both.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's both, but I think she can protect herself more,
Mhm.
and then she just kind of protecting our sex worker. But like, then we go into her bedroom, and then she puts on music and she just starts dancing. You know, it seems like she really enjoys
More great
yes,
music.
Really
It's very
good
absolutely.
synthy.
Yeah.
She just like
She
it's
gets
great.
lost in
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then she puts on eyeliner, lipstick, puts her clothes back on, and then she walks out. And
finds the tattoo guy, Saeed.
Saeed.
Yep.
And this is a good example of one of these Western shots. They pass each other, and then he turns around and she's just staring him down.
Mm-hmm.
And there is that like kind of Western standoff that we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he approaches her. And again, he does that. Doesn't he like get close to her and like kind of touch her face or something at this moment?
I don't know. I
No.
remember him saying, "What next?"
Yeah, what next? They just like go up to it towards each other, and they're just staring at each other, and that's when he says, "What's next?"
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't say anything else, and then they go back to his house, his really nice house.
Yeah.
And then he fucking taps on his fish tank. He's like, da, da, da,
Immediately,
and then
just
First
dunk,
thing.
dunk.
ooh, and I was like, just kill him, just kill him.
Yeah.
Well, he does pretty much a bunch of things in this scene to just be like, this is the worst guy.
Gross,
Mhm.
gross,
He's kind
gross.
of almost just going about his routine and not even noticing that she's there for
Yeah.
the first part of it.
She's just in the back, just
Just
kind
watching.
of watching him.
But at the same time, it's sort of a performativeness of these are all the things that I can have as my routine, which is drugs, exercising, like
Sick music.
loud,
Putting on
sick
music.
He's
Let me do
counting
another
money.
line.
Yeah, counting money. Yeah. This is like, I can afford to live this way. This is just what I do. And so
Watch
he's
me.
just performing because she's not talking.
Mhm.
She hasn't talked to him yet.
All of it.
And she is taking her time. You know, is watching him for a while. And then she starts to walk around the apartment. It's really slow. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's just very long. There's a lot of these scenes where it's very long and drawn out and slow. And you're kind of, you know, that tension is building because we know what it's building to.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
I like that it takes its time.
it takes. I do too. It's great. And they both in this scene seem unafraid
Yeah.
and just calm. Because they're both kind of just like in their element. He's in
Mhm.
his house doing his douchebag thing, and she's kind of just assessing her kill.
Mm-hmm.
She's stalking him. She
Mhm.
is like a
Stalking.
cat, you know.
Yeah.
She's
Mhm.
very quiet, staying off in the distance, watching, analyzing, kind of like, you know, stalking around her prey for a little bit, and then letting him come to her essentially in the end.
Because I think she's trying to see if he's going to come at her with either violence or, you know, because like she knows who he is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking she's just waiting for him to come to her
Mhm.
and see. But if he doesn't, I think she wouldn't have killed him yet.
Maybe.
She might have killed him later.
Yeah. But he was going to. Like, that's
Yeah.
just what he was, who he was.
Absolutely.
He- yeah.
He was gonna do the
Absolutely.
creepy fucking finger,
Finger.
and
So
he does.
He does.
He does, and she.
Her teeth flick out first.
Yeah.
Like he makes her open her mouth, and then her teeth just go, "Pfft," and he's like, "What?" And she's just like,
No,
and
give me
like
back
takes
your finger.
takes back a hand, and he just like, okay, goes with it, even though vampire teeth just pop out of someone's
Hello?
face.
I think he like at some point, at least gesturally, was like, "Oh, cool,"
Yeah,
you know.
Whoa. Never seen this
Whoa.
before.
More
Yeah.
sensation for me.
yeah, and the sensation that he gets is his finger being bit off.
Yep.
Yeah,
Straight bit
and
off.
just crunch, and then he's like, ah, and like
You
falls
know-
on the couch, missing his index, and like that finger, she just
She
like
takes it.
she
It's
drops it
long.
out of her mouth.
The amount of force that it takes to just bite a finger off is you biting a carrot.
Yeah, easy.
And
Easy.
she's hungry for it, so
The bloody finger comes out of her mouth because when you're at first I was like, oh, did she just swallow that? Did she just eat that? Where'd it go?
Mhm,
And then just
vitamins.
whoa, it comes out and she puts it in his
yeah.
mouth.
Go back. I
This-
mean,
there you go.
deserves it.
Love-
Yeah.
Deserves it.
Absolutely.
It was
But
pretty
just,
satisfying.
It just
honestly.
reminded me of Raw all over
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Ooh.
It was a total raw finger experience,
Ooh.
but it was pretty good.
And then like bites his neck. does
First
the
kill.
Blood
She goes,
drink. Mhm.
She like literally turns into like a fucking beast.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's feeding.
Mm-hmm.
She's feeding on his neck, and
Yeesh.
Yummy.
She's a vampire.
Yeah.
yeah.
Who's coming over to fucking switch
Arash.
the diamonds?
Arash, our boy Arash.
Rosh is like,
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
God,
I want
tattoo
my
guy's
car.
always on time.
Uh-huh.
No, I
Nah.
got it.
Nah.
And
He's
they
calling?
cross paths.
Mhm.
This is where they kind of just cross paths for the first time.
She like steals some stuff. She steals some jewelry from
Jewelry
tattoo guy.
and music. That's the
Yeah.
only two things that
Yes.
she steals.
Yeah.
The CDs.
No money.
Yeah.
She cares nothing about money. Nothing about money.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about money.
Yeah.
But music is her fucking thing, and jewels, at least she can trade for money.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She lets him into his compound. She lets Arash into tattoo guy's compound. He walks in, sees dead body, and is like, "Oh fuck!" Takes his car keys,
Of course.
And the briefcase.
and the briefcase
of
full of
drugs
money and drugs
and money.
and a gun that was never used.
Never
A
used.
gun that
I'm
was never
glad.
used. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Just having a threat of a gun, though, it kind of takes it to a new like level of
Yes.
stakes, because this is kind of a part where Arash starts changing to almost what Bad City can make a person.
Yeah.
Like what Bad City made Saeed, because he takes that case of drugs and starts selling it. In Bad City, you gotta do what you gotta do. This guy just died. Hey, he gets his car back, and his dad doesn't really have to pay his debts anymore. So, all right,
Works for me.
this is lucky for me.
Yeah, he goes to the hospital, gets his like hand X-rayed, and gets medicine done to it.
Taken care of.
Medicine
And then he's got
done
a
to it.
big white cast on.
Mhm.
Throughout the whole
And no matter
movie.
what he wears, even if he's wearing all black, he's got a big white hand.
Got a
So
big white hand.
he's still a good boy.
The hand of good.
The hand.
Good.
The broken
My
hand of good.
Mm-hmm. Like we see him doing these things. We see her in the bathtub, like cleansing herself of her kill
Yes.
or whatever. But then we also see the oil like refineries and the
Mhm.
dead bodies in the
Yeah.
wash, and like so. Bad City is bad. Like things are
still
functioning.
bad.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
That Bad
And
City's
these are just
working.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are just doing things in Bad
Yeah,
City.
because then we get an image of the oil drills.
Mhm.
Just,
Mhm.
hey, this
Yeah,
town
pump.
is just sucking away at the earth.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
it's not anything less than what our vampire girl is doing.
Mm-hmm. Or what Arash is doing.
Yeah.
They're all the same, and so he's
Um,
no worse than her in some way. You know.
I think that's what we get at the end, is also that. It was like, how am I going to judge you?
Right.
And how are you going to judge me?
We get this scene of Ati being kind of harassed by this older guy asking her to hang out, and she's like, show back up with money and we'll talk. And then
Well, the older guy's the father.
Yeah.
is that the father?
Yeah.
That's the
that's the
father.
father.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's
Gotcha.
the problem.
So the father, is harassing her but he doesn't have any money. So she's like, show back up when you have money. And then this is the second moment when the girl shows up to essentially protect Adi.
They both there's a scene where he's walking behind her, and then they both then turn around and look at another person behind.
But we don't see who that is.
We don't see it
They're just looking off camera.
until she goes away.
And they're like, yeah, she just walks off. But we know who they're looking at.
Mhm.
It's interesting. We don't need to cut away for us to assume who they're looking
Mhm.
at. And then there's this cool scene where they're
Mirror.
mirroring each other
Yeah.
across the street. And it made me think of that trope of vampires don't have reflections.
Mhm.
And she is now reflecting him,
Yeah.
a bad monster.
Yeah, she wants to
Yeah.
see what he's gonna do. Yeah.
And he's scared.
He is. He does get scared.
Well, there is animals for sure that mimic, right? Well, cats.
it really feels
cats-
like she's toying. with
Yeah.
him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cats
Cat and mouse.
play with their prey sometimes. They gain their trust.
And then we have our little lonely kid
Ugh.
walking down the alleyway
At
Poor
night
kid.
alone.
at night
Yep.
alone.
I
Scary
made
again.
3 jokes. I did.
Mhm.
Kid walks home alone at night.
That's what I wrote down too.
Yep.
And then she does a classic vampire appears behind him, and he gets scared and runs away and looking behind him, and then
Mhm.
appears in front
Right
of
Yeah,
him.
he runs right into her. Yeah.
Ah,
And then she just fucking.
are you a good boy?
That's the
Mhm.
first line she's ever said.
Yeah, that is.
Are you a good boy? Tell me. Don't lie to me. Are you a good boy? Are you? Yes or no?
Mhm.
And then
And-
he was like, yes.
She seems to assume that he's lying in that moment
Well, because he's man.
because he's just inherently bad because he lives in the city.
Yes, and also I think for his gender.
It is about men. She hunts men.
True.
She kills men.
And protects the women.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like she wants to scare away all the misogynisticness.
For sure.
She wants to
Is that a word?
protect. Yeah.
Misogyny. All the misogyny
Yeah.
from this little kid.
Mhm.
And just with fear.
Yeah, be a good boy.
She's like, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
will
I mean,
always watch
she
you.
does appear after.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then kind of fucking looks at him and she's like, I got you. I'm not going to say
Fuck,
anything.
fuck.
I'm just not going to say anything, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's a representation of the next generation.
Yes.
The generation that's growing up in this bad city.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she is trying to fear lesson.
She goes into this very demonic voice.
Yeah.
As she, like, is, like, telling him, like, I'm watching you, and if you are bad, I'm going to eat your eyeballs and feed you to the dogs or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I would have
that is
pissed my pants.
Terrifying.
Horrifying.
Everything in my body would have left in all sort of directions.
And he runs away, and the thing he leaves behind is not a poop, but a skateboard.
He does leave a skateboard.
You don't know where it came
That's
from.
true.
He
No, he
coulda
was carrying
pooped
it
it out.
before this.
I know.
He could have pooped it out.
Arash goes to make his costume for a Halloween party
Mm-hmm.
that he is going to be the main server at, and it's a Dracula costume.
Dracula
He's in the
costume.
classic, like, big Dracula cape and
Cowl.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or
Collar. It's collar.
Yeah.
Cowl is that.
Yeah.
Cowl is what Batman wears. Batman wears a cowl.
Batman could have been at that party.
Batman
He
could have been at
have.
the party.
Yeah.
We didn't see no Batmans though, because
No.
the camera was very close to people's faces.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And he is trying to be this, like, big drug dealer now. And he's literally dressed in a vampire costume. He's trying to be something that's threatening.
Yeah.
But we already know that there's a real vampire out there, and that is the real threat in this movie. And he just seems like a poser
Mm-hmm.
when he's in this costume.
Yes.
You know, you're just like, oh man, you're really trying hard to pretend to be something that you're not.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, like, our new nose girl,
Mhm.
she convinces him to take, well, actually, she fucking shoves it in there.
Again, another
Another, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
invading. Mhm.
And he's into her, and that's why he allows her in, and takes what we presume is his first time ever taking drugs.
Mhm.
Seems like
He had not done any of the drugs that he's selling. So that's, I think, another way that we're like, oh man, like, he's a good guy. You
Mhm.
know, he's a good guy. And then he's all fucked up.
And he goes off into the night.
And he's walking in a very wealthy neighborhood, because that's probably where the party was
Dracula
held.
walks home alone at night.
Yep. But instead of it being dark, it's light. It's lit. It's very well lit.
Yeah.
And there are these just street lights almost every like 15 feet or something
Mhm.
like that. And then he gets caught up in one. And am I wrong? Is there a Nosferatu thing where he's like looking at the moon like that? Is that
Oh.
a thing? Is that, I don't know.
You know
Makes
what?
me
I
think of that.
haven't seen that movie in a really long time. But it did kind of look, as he's staring into the light, I wrote Deadlight,
Mhm.
but it's us, like a POV of his eyeball. It was like shaped like an eye.
Oh.
And then the
was,
like light was right there in the center.
I thought of flies being attracted to light and kind of getting entranced by light.
A moth.
And then, yeah, moth, kind of a bugs just attracted to light in general. Again, it's at night, and he's being attracted to the brightest thing.
Mhm.
And then that is the moment when the girl skates up, too.
Yeah.
Seemingly what could be... that could be his death showing up.
Mhm.
You know, she has the power immediately to kill him like a fly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just zap him because he got too close to the light.
And then they have this moment where the real Dracula and a fake Dracula are
Yes.
looking at each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I have the Spider-Man meme just like
Uh,
just in my mind.
if only you could write memes as notes. Just like a
I
full,
did.
draw the full.
I see.
Yeah.
Draw
But
the
no,
full
I
meme.
put
Draw the full
Spider-Man
meme.
meme. Arash asks her like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you here? Why are both of us here?
Yeah, it becomes like, at first what's like just like a normal question kind of becomes like a philosophical question.
It is a really interesting question. Why would a vampire be hanging
Why are you
out
here?
in Dead City? You know, if like she's immortal or, you know, a hunter of people, she's just in a place where there doesn't seem to be that many people, and she's not like living it up. She's pretty alone, and she's protecting one person. And it's like, why is she here?
I think she's struggling with that too. And she views herself, I think, at least at the beginning, as just bad. She knows, obviously, she's a vampire. She's a monster. And I think she also views herself as a monster. She goes to Bad City. This is where she belongs. And this is... She doesn't deserve anything more than this. At the beginning of this movie, seems very down on herself. She's alone. She's described as lonesome. She's lonely. And I think she's... I don't know how long she's been alive, but like a lot of people and things in this town, vampires are unchanging. They're the same thing. They don't age. They don't grow. All they do is need to feed on blood. And I think she almost has, like, maybe before this movie, before she comes to this town, like, a existential moment of, like,
I don't want to eat.
Why am I even here? Like, what's even my purpose? Because I don't change.
Because
I'm
for her
unchanging.
to
I'm just bad. That's it.
that question to resonate with her and not kill him, and deciding not to kill him.
Right. I think this is that he, like, unwittingly or not, poses a philosophical question to her that forces her to think about it for a second. And this is the first person that's ever asked her a question like that, probably, especially in this town.
Especially a man. I'm presuming that he doesn't come to her just for sex or views women just as sexual beings, but he's like actually trying to have a conversation with him. And then he says after that, I've never been like this before. And then I wrote down like high or lost. Like, which one are you? Time.
Right.
Like physical,
Both.
mentally, like you've never been like this before. You've never even asked yourself this question before. Like, why are you here?
They have this moment of embrace before too, because
he touches her, and
You're
he was
cold.
like, "You're cold,"
Vampire.
and then he like
She's a vampire, dude.
She's dead.
wraps his cloak around her and just hugs her to try to warm her up.
Yeah, and I mean, I had the thought of, holy shit, like, she's really close to his neck.
At the same time, this is a motion where he engulfs her, but it doesn't feel like he's invading her in any way. It seems like he's just like, whoa, and I'm gonna warm you, and then and
in
you're
a
thinking,
nurturing way.
it feels very nurturing, and you're not like, oh, he should get bit. It's like, oh, he's gonna get bit. Is like it's a vulnerability he doesn't know he's giving to her. While it's also like still like a I don't know, it's a sort of welcoming thing instead of just like
and then he takes a
invading
seat.
thing.
He's like, I'm just gonna sit here.
right here.
We should sit down.
And then
I was like, I've
"Uh."
been that drunk before.
Yes. Yes, that's.
I'm gonna sit down right here.
I'm gonna sit
You
down.
can't
here.
sit there.
Yeah.
On your birthday, that was
my
really
birthday.
funny.
Well, also,
middle of parking lot.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
At
That's a place to sit
IHOP,
down.
we were kind of
Perfect place.
defeated because IHOP was not open.
Oh,
They lied to
no.
us; it wasn't 24/7.
Bastards.
I'm looking at you, IHOP.
Bastards.
Well, and also just like physically, now he's below her. There's a power shift that she feels. I mean, she has power
Easy
over
target.
anybody.
Yeah.
Power over anybody, but she feels. I think that act makes her feel vulnerability, and also she sees that he's vulnerable in a different way, maybe than she. Besides just food, vulnerable in an emotional way too. And then she invites him back to her sick ass room.
Yeah.
And this scene,
A disco ball.
This next scene is literally 2 shots. It's 2 really long, really slow shots, but we get a lot. I feel like a lot of information through these 2 shots. And go for it. And the first shot is her thrown on some music, as she does always. This is her like safety thing.
I think it's her love language.
It kind of seems like
Music is her love
she doesn't
language.
really express herself much
Exactly.
in her face,
Mhm.
but in the music for sure.
There's 3 moments. This one, the date, and then as they're driving away together, where he was like,
Mm-hmm.
he asks her something, or he's like trying to communicate with her, and she's just cold, absolutely not welcoming. And then he's like, "Oh, I know what I need to do. You like music. Let's
I
play
like
music."
music.
Yeah.
And then after that, she kind of, a little bit, just like,
Yes. In this scene, the first shot that we get is a wide shot of the
Mhm.
room, and she's starting to put on music,
Mhm.
and he's still definitely on ecstasy,
drugs.
feeling the effect.
He's conked out on her bed.
And he just slowly gets up and looks up in the light again. I
Mhm.
got another
Yeah,
moment
he
of him
sees a
looking
disco
up
ball.
into the light, which in this case is a disco ball.
Mhm.
And he just slowly just goes up towards it, super entranced with it,
Mhm.
and then gives
spins
a big spin.
it.
And she's just frozen there. too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second shot of this scene is her all the way on the
The left,
Right
All
side.
the right.
yeah.
facing off camera.
Looking down at her
And then the
record player,
lights are just like,
her
And it's
music.
just going.
Yeah.
And she's alone in that shot for a
Mhm.
very long time.
Mhm.
Very, very, very long
But
time.
the emptiness of the shot is so
You
what's
know
gonna
what's
happen
coming.
because it's
Yeah.
got to be filled.
It makes it tense.
Mhm.
And you're waiting for it, you're wanting it, and you can, at least for me, I almost felt like I could feel him
Yes.
from off screen.
Yeah.
And feel what he was doing, even though we didn't see what he was doing at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could see him feel him turning towards her, looking at her, and then making the decision to start to
Mhm.
walk towards her and
Slowly.
Drift.
Yeah.
comes in.
They fully float in this scene. I don't know what it is, but it really feels.
That whole scene is
Yeah.
just gorgeous.
It's amazing. And
It's
the music
so
is
good.
also great too.
Mhm.
Oh, the music, that's when I put that, like, there was no words being said in the scene.
Nope.
Yet the music was doing that for us,
Mhm.
of just like heart beating. And
It was
like,
something about darkness too. It was
Mhm.
something about returning to darkness, or like something like that.
Mm.
But it was,
I thought it was about like 2 people coming together and like
yes,
doing an act together, and like their hearts are beating and the blood is flowing.
Mm.
pretty much. Yeah,
Mm.
but it was describing one of those people as darkness. I think. I have to listen back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music is so good in this movie.
It's really
Check
good.
the music out.
And so he finally gets to right behind her, and there's still a moment of them just feeling each other's
Mhm.
presence.
Mhm.
And even though she's like, I got her back to him and is completely,
He's still in his Dracula thing. He looks like a predator in that moment.
Yeah.
He looks
Her
like the
neck
tall.
is exposed.
Yeah.
and
Because she has short hair. She's
Yeah.
the only woman in that city, I'm pretty sure, that has very short hair.
he's like closing in on her, but it feels like she's wanting to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't feel like she's scared
Right.
that she wants that feeling almost of like letting it go and
Mhm.
being the one who is being desired.
Mhm.
And then she slowly turns towards him, and they finally meet eyes, and
Then we go to the
She
scene.
pushes his head up.
yes,
Oh, right,
exposes
right, right.
his
yeah,
neck,
it's this
and
like
she
grabbing
and
of
it's
his hair.
and you're like, oh no! But
I
then she
get-
doesn't bite him.
I didn't think she was going to.
yeah,
It everything that happened in this scene felt sensual.
Mhm.
So it felt like she was holding him in like an aggressive but also like sexual way,
Yeah.
and sensual way, and all she ended up doing was listening to his heartbeat.
Mhm.
She had the power in this scene for sure, in the way that she was, physically holding him, but they were both being vulnerable with each
Mhm.
other. There were both moments of him having power, and then she has the power, but they're both vulnerable this whole
Mhm.
time. And it ends, with her just listening
Yeah,
into
listening.
his heartbeat. And so she keys the car, but then who shows up for the third time is the girl.
The girl.
Mm-hmm.
The girl. And there's another Western shot they kind of have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she's following her, and this is when Ati finally asks, "Why are you following me?" And I don't really remember.
The
if
girl just pulls
She
out.
pulls out a fucking.
Oh, that's
They
all of
have
Saeed's
one.
jewelry that she
Mhm.
took from him
Mhm.
or from whoever she's killing. Kind of as like, oh, you're not stalking her, you are protecting her.
Mhm.
This is kind of that first confirmation of you care about this person. And then she invites her back to her apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next scene, when they're at Ati's house, that's essentially when the girl admits that she's been watching her.
Mhm.
And she goes into this whole long thing about, you're sad,
You've been doing the same
you've been
thing.
doing the same thing, you forgot what it means to want something, you
Mhm.
forgot essentially where you're going. And she's unchanged. And unchanging. She just is in the same cycle. And to me, it was almost like the girl is watching her because she reminds her of herself.
Mhm.
She sees herself as a thing that is unchanging and is only in this situation forever, which she perceives as bad. And she herself is bad. And she can never be anything else except bad. This was the first scene where I was like, oh shit, like you actually hate yourself.
Mhm.
Like I don't think you like that you have to do this
Yeah.
at all.
No.
And you've come to Bad City almost to punish yourself and just be bad because that's all you think you deserve to be. After she's done eating the homeless man, she goes home and finds the
A
note to meet at the power plant.
Mhm.
Ooh.
The big date destination
Date.
spot.
And then she dreams.
Yes.
Of a dark hallway with a light at the end and someone coming walking
Arash.
down it.
And it looks like Arash
Mhm.
coming down
Looks
the,
like a rush.
the hallway.
Is she then? Is that a premonition or is she actually?
Maybe he's just the
psychic?
man of her dreams
Oh, and nightmares.
and nightmares.
Uh-oh.
It's me. It's actually me in the hallway.
It's actually me.
Mhm.
I did write down premonition because she has that same dream twice.
Yeah.
And she's literally just like sleeping like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
So
maybe
vampires in this world can sleep.
Hmm.
And bathe and look at each other in the mirror. Or each other.
Each
and
other.
dream.
Hey.
I guess.
Yeah.
We never see her in the light though, so
That's
don't
true.
know about
Absolutely
light.
not.
Don't know.
Don't
Nope.
know about the light. But yeah, I mean, is it a premonition? Not maybe exactly that happens, but Arash is the thing that does essentially come to save her in the end.
Yeah. The question is like, is it a hope or is it fate? You know, like is
Yeah.
that
I put in that scene, because he's ascending from light.
Yes.
He's just this figure ascending down this hallway. And I put, is he the only good guy in town? Like, with
Quote,
all the
unquote, yeah.
flaws that we have as a human being, is he still good? Like, is he the only good man?
But at the same time, he's walking towards the darkness. Like he's walking
To get
away
her.
from the light
Yeah.
towards
Yeah,
the darkness.
But, like,
But also, there is this idea of light is death to vampires. So if
Mhm.
he's pulling her towards the light, that is actually a bad thing
Mhm.
for her.
And that's why the second dream, he stops, and then the camera, her,
Yes.
moves towards him.
Mhm.
yes,
And
I
meet
put
in
that.
the middle. They gotta
Yes,
meet in the middle.
They gotta
Meet
meet
in
in
the
the middle.
Mhm.
Being in a relationship is a partnership. You're a team. One can't be above you if it's a team. You work together.
Yes.
Especially if one of you is a vampire.
True.
Especially if one of you is a vampire. Well, I think the reason why she's so lonely is because maybe perhaps she just doesn't have any faith in humanity anymore.
Mhm.
But then I think she does by her just killing bad people. And I don't think she can settle down, A, because she's a vampire, but B, because she can't find a guy that is a good guy.
I think
And then she finds this person that has not touched her in any way or like done anything to another woman that is harmful. You know?
I think it's for her. I feel like it's less about losing faith in humanity and more about losing faith in herself, because I don't think she thinks she deserves a good guy.
Mhm.
And in the power plant scene where it's kind of this like faux date, going on with like, oh, you want a hamburger? All this. Yeah, it's like their little date spot or whatever. She talks about how she's done bad things and rejects him
His
with
affection.
that. It rejects his affection with that excuse that she has done bad things.
She admits she has done bad things, but she doesn't walk away until he says, "You don't know the bad things I've done."
Right.
And she's very concerned about men being good boys.
True.
She doesn't want a bad boy. She can't stand there being a bad boy, because they're the people that hurt women. You know, these are the guys that do shitty things. But then he's like, he's basically telling her, "I'll meet you halfway." You know, like
I think that's to me that's kind of what rings to her is this idea that yes, you are bad. You are a monster, essentially a bad thing just inherently, but we're all bad too. We're all in bad
I'm
city.
a human. I'm also bad.
Yeah, you like it's okay because we all have flaws.
Also,
she has to accept that fact essentially that we're all bad. We all live in bad city.
did he tell her that he stole those earrings that she is not wearing?
Nope.
No.
He steals jewelry. She steals jewelry. He loves music. She loves music.
Match made in heaven.
What more do you want?
After she like walks away and stops, he comes over to her and says, "If there was a storm coming over the horizon right now, would that change anything?" And then she like goes around and walks away. And, like, that's how the date ends. And also, the reason they get back together, right? The reason they get together is because there's a storm coming.
Yeah.
True.
There's change. He has no one to take care of anymore.
After, yes.
Because I'm thinking, he has a car. He has money now. He doesn't need to be there. Nothing else is tying him there besides his dad.
Who he kicks out of the house after his dad is having like a paranoid fit.
Which isn't that like coming up? Isn't
It's the next
yes,
thing?
it's the next scene.
It's the next thing that happens because
I think he goes to this extreme of just losing faith and just being angry and
Who's going to this extreme?
Arash.
Got it.
of
He's fed
throwing
up.
money to his dad.
Yeah.
He knows that he could possibly spend that money. Like, you don't give money to an addict.
You know
You do not.
He doesn't want him in his life anymore.
He knows.
No.
Because he feels rejected on one level, but then he also like pushes that towards his dad, who
He's
he
pissed
would
off.
be taken care of. And,
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
which is a shitty thing. Very shitty thing.
It is so sad.
Yeah.
I'm the parent in this situation. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of the situation that the city has put me in. I'm tired of everything in my life right now. Right after he gets rejected by the one thing that he thought could be good.
Yeah.
And then we go to
A spoon.
The
fire.
crackling
and
of
the
fucking...
and that's what you immediately knew. The father's back on drugs. And then we go to him and Ati. He's got money now, so he can get her to an apartment.
But there's that beautiful scene of, I mean, drugs are ugly, but like the crackling of the meth heroin to the crackling of the vinyl record. Transition.
Wow.
Yep.
The music. That's his music, really.
Yeah.
I guess that's what's given his life color at this point, is the drugs.
Yeah.
And he asks her to dance for him like the old days. Now, is that something he would ask her or his wife?
I think his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what made me wonder if Ati was just the name of his wife, because we don't hear her name Ati until
this point.
this moment where where she's dancing and he calls her by
honey.
that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, oh God, it's just really sad for both of them, really. I mean, he's so gone with the drugs, and she's, kind of a slave to this city and what she has to do to survive. Money. And she, he ties her up with his belt, ties her wrists together, and then forces her to
take heroin.
take heroin.
Yeah.
Sticks it in her arm.
Yeah.
And then he sticks himself. Oh, God.
It's so
We're going to have a good
bad.
night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Terrible.
it's sad and bad.
And all he does, they don't have sex. All
Nope.
he wants is just somebody to hold.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And to be going through something with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not be alone. Yeah. Another weird power happens where we see like the edge of the cat's eye, and then it flashes to the girl, and then like it feels like the cat and the girl are communicating or
Yes.
something like that, and then
Yeah.
the girl goes woof.
She's
Out
there.
of nowhere. She's there. Yeah.
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 And I
So-
think that that's what I got too. It almost felt like at that
Mhm.
point the cat was some sort of like watcher, and that's why I kind of felt like the cat that moves through this story is moving. Whatever path it crosses, it either kills them or protects them or changes them in some way.
Mhm.
And in this case, it feels like the cat is watching over Ati and knows that she's in a bad situation, and therefore the girl knows that she's in a bad situation. Just flies. She really felt like she flew in there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some like supernatural strength going on too, because she pulls the father out of the bed.
Throws him across the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then goes into town. Rum, 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 rum.
Yeah.
And then we get blackout scenes, which I'm assuming is Ati, just kind of going
Yeah, 'cause
in and
she's-
out of
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so she can't really piece together what happened or that she's a vampire. All she can probably tell is now he's dead.
yeah,
And they dispose of the body. And I think that's another reason why she's not like fully afraid of her.
next shot, oil rig. Business is booming. Get
But
the oil.
Get the
it
oil!
stops.
It does stop.
It does stop and like reverses
Goes.
a little bit and then goes forward a little bit. It's kind of in this
Loop.
transition
weird.
moment.
Why are we
yeah,
stopping? Huh?
things are off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The whole machinery is unsure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next is finding
Oh, right.
Dad's
My bad.
body, and it's a cool shot, of POV
Oh,
shot
yes.
of the little kid pulling
The
someone.
cameraman.
Yeah, the cameraman. And we kind of go up to the body and discover it as we are in Arash's POV. And everything in that scene feels very handheld and kind of out of sorts. He's accepting the death of his father. And essentially that this is his fault.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
He kicked him out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he feels like he's got to get away because it's his fault that his dad is dead. It's
I think it's also just the fact that he's, like I mentioned before, he has nothing tying him to the city anymore.
True.
So he's just like, I need to get the fuck out
I'm done with this.
for so many reasons, but I'm done. I'm done and I'm going to go.
And then he goes into her sick ass apartment and essentially is like, we gotta go. We gotta leave. I think she kind of has a moment of there's like two big decisions that happen within these next couple scenes. I think this is her moment of deciding this good guy has come and asked me to leave Bad City. She has to kind of make the decision of, do I think that I'm worth that or not? And ultimately she does, because she does go with him and she starts packing. And as she's waiting for him, the cat comes around the corner, and of course he recognizes the cat because he's the one that stole it in the first place. That's when things become clear to him. And there's this moment where he's looking around at things and he's like, things are becoming more clear. Like,
Where are
why
you
does
getting all these jewelry?
where does all that come from?
All these different kinds of music.
Yeah, he's looking around. He's seeing her get dressed up in. I think he probably is then recognizing her from when he first saw her, when she puts on her hijab, and he's like, okay,
Yeah.
I know the truth now. He hasn't made a decision yet, though. Because then the next shot is we're driving off into the night.
Yeah.
Into the middle of nowhere, it seems. Who knows where that is?
Very familiar. Felt like Tucson night roads. It's
Ugh.
very familiar. And then
Scary.
so they're driving and
there's
driving
no
and
light.
driving, and he pulls over, and you know that he's put something together, and you know that she's a vampire and she could kill him at any moment, but you have no idea what he's gonna do, what choice he's gonna make, and like looking at her, you can see she's very open. She has made the choice to go along with him.
Yes.
But she's very open to whatever happens next is gonna happen.
Because she's survived it on her own.
Yeah.
For who knows how long. And then the cat just like is prepped right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the middle. And it does a fucking good job of just staying there and
It's
being
a black and white
big,
cat.
fluffy, fat self right there. And
Very
then
cute.
he gets in the car, and then they're both like not looking at each other, and the cat is still kind of like right in between, kind of just like marrying this human and beast and good and bad all around.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just slowly.
Well, he puts on a song first.
Yeah, he's reaching for the glove compartment, and still at that moment,
It
you're
looks
like,
like he was going to
is it going to be that gun
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
got at the beginning,
Yeah.
or is it
Oh.
going to be something else? I have the glove compartment to me just means gun.
Gun.
So that's probably why I went there.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
thought he was just going to open the door.
that too,
And
it was
just be
still
like,
this moment of has he made this decision?
That is
yet?
true. Before that
But-
happens.
Her love language is music.
Mm-hmm.
And him putting on that cassette definitely was I fully accept who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And
We're not going to talk about this.
we're not going to talk about this.
We're not going to talk
Because
about
ultimately, too, yes, she killed yes, she killed his father, but as you said many times, his father was the last link that he had to Bad City,
Mm-hmm.
aka the thing that was tethering him and
Mhm.
anchoring him to this bad place. They have now freed each other, and there's that last moment where they start to listen to the song, and I think both of them start to smile.
Mhm.
Cat's right in between
So
them.
look at each other.
And you're like,
yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And
And,
then-
they held on to that gaze a little bit.
And they drive off.
It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Drive off into the night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A girl walks home alone at night.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Girl walks
Mhm.
home
That was
alone.
my first viewing of it.
Hell
yeah.
You two had seen it before,
Yes.
which is cool. Obviously, one of your favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's get to some.
Smash pumpkins!
And Adam, as the person who claims this is one of your favorite movies, let's start with you. What do you think?
Easy.
Claims.
5 stars.
Whoa.
Allegedly.
5
Fun.
stars?
Allegedly favorite.
5 stars, but how
5
many?
stars.
How many?
5 Smash Pumpkins.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's what I mean. 5 Smash Pumpkins. This movie, one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite movies of all time is because it does so much with so little, and it's one of those pieces of art that you can like take in multiple times and get new meaning from it and connect new things to it. And because she, as a director and writer, is not overtelling anything to you, there's nothing that feels like rot or trite or just like overdone or overexplained. And there's so many things that you wish you had more information, and watching again is kind of like you feel like that'll give you more information, even though it doesn't really, you know. There's only so much this movie will have in it, but I don't know, it's beautifully visually. There's some incredible like just images that stick in your mind, even though this isn't like a extremely high budget movie or like there aren't it's not like really gruesome stuff is happening that's like, oh my god, how did they do that? It's very simple filmmaking, but at the same time very visually striking. Music is awesome. If you want me to love a movie, make the music incredible, because holy shit. And then just like, oh my god, I love watching this movie. It's you lean into it because the time it takes is so careful, and it builds tension, and it rewards your watching with some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love this movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
I'm glad you picked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
me
Literally
too.
picked it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with all the stuff that you said. I mean, I think that again, something that I always come back to is intentional filmmaking, and this entire film was intentional. And I love, there's so many, it's black and white, which is a choice, and there's so many callbacks to old classic horror movies in this, from Nosferatu, old vampire movies. It just feels classic in how they're shooting it, but also new in how they're presenting it too, between the music and just these beautiful long shots that you're right, they build tension so well, and it's just like perfectly long enough for you not to question, gosh, this is going on forever, but for you to like live in it and like living in that long tense moment. And tense went from tense being a scary tense to being like a sensual tense and a loving tense. You get both sides of the spectrum, love and fear. There's the only two sides of the spectrum. But it was really well done. It was very understated, but in the perfect way. Those are vampires. You know, I think it's almost like a movie that's a perfect encapsulation of a vampire's life and what they might be going through, having an existential crisis almost, what that might look like, and how they might view the world too. Which is an interesting perspective to have, as like this kind of like lonely, depressed vampire. It was cool. It was very, very good. I'm going to give it 5 Smash Pumpkins.
Oh!
Bam, bam,
Bam, bam, bam, bam.
Hard to fault the movie.
Oh my god.
Hard to fault the movie.
Really hard.
It really
Yeah.
is. It really is.
It's void of color because we don't need it. But it also adds to the avoidance of depression and just being alone, you know? So it had that beautiful already from the bat, that interpretation. It's just great. I also love it when filmmakers are filmmakers and they just have every scene just be just gorgeous. And like we mentioned, they don't try too hard. It's just is beautiful. And it takes its time. I love that too. We don't need every scene to be full or for it to like go from this to that to this to that. So it's gorgeous overall.
Yeah.
Everything that we said, I agree with. So 5 Smashing Pumpkins.
Wow. 555, huh?
Whoa!
Yeah.
What a
Across
way to
the
start
board.
your podcast.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
Big one.
Two
Really
big, high-rated movies from
True.
all of us.
Right
it was great.
off
It's
the
awesome.
It's
bat.
been great so far.
It's
Wow.
been great.
Wow.
We're 2 in.
Great.
Thank you again
great.
for being here for
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I would have thrown everything against a wall in order to come here.
Perfect. Perfect.
Screw the world.
Before we get you out of here,
Yes.
let's see what we have in store for next week.
Oh, yeah.
See what we get.
I feel bad. I would feel bad to pick it again. Do you
Yeah,
want
no,
me to
Leslie,
pick
I
it?
think you should do it this
Leslie,
time.
go for
Yeah?
it. Go for it.
All right.
Make sure you really reach in there.
All right.
Mhm.
Really get in there.
I'll put my whole fist in there.
Ooh. What can it be? What can it be? What can it be?
Okay,
What will
okay,
the
okay,
fates
okay.
decide? The horror.
Let's see.
fates
Let's see.
decide.
Let's see.
What do we get? What do we get? Okay,
I'm
now
scarred.
read the
The whole thing,
whole thing.
right?
Yeah, the whole thing. At least the title and the logline.
Oh. Wait, what? The Invisible Man, 1933.
Whoa.
James Well, R.C. Sheriff. The long line is, a scientist finds a way of becoming invisible, but in doing so, he becomes murderously insane.
Wow.
The Invisible Man.
Murderously insane.
We're going from 2014
Mhm.
all the way back to
To
1933.
33,
Wow.
almost 100 years.
Okay,
Black
so this
and
is
white to black and white. Stick
Ooh.
in there.
before we get out of here. Adam, please plug yourself.
You can find my podcast, Season 3, Episode 4,
Ooh.
at Season 3, Episode 4. The words are words, the numbers are numbers. Anywhere you find podcasts. It's an audio one.
It's a fun one.
Great. It's
It's a fun
amazing, guys.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Leslie. I'm only on Instagram. Color me Leslie. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you can find me at Beep Beep Richie T, and check us out at the Deadlights Pod on Instagram.
Ooh.
Also check out Playground Social, which is the studio that we are recording this in.
Right here, right now.
But
Right here, right now.
until next week, let's get spooky, y'all. I'm walking alone and it's scary.
Don't ever do drugs.
Don't do drugs.